This is your daily dose of all things royal. All right, my gorgeous, good-looking friends, let's dive into this latest chapter of Meghan Markle's never-ending quest for relevance. Today, I'm going to go ahead and tear into this latest appearance on Aspire with Emma Gredes. I'm not going to lie, it was truly difficult to wade through it, but this podcast was promising to unpack success, but mostly just unpacks Meghan's latest attempt to rewrite her narrative. Shocker. I mean, nobody is buying it, but here we go again. Meghan's not authentic, she's not believable, and she's not someone anyone with a shred of skepticism should trust. Why? Because of her track record screams dishonesty. We've all seen it, we've all witnessed it, and I just don't understand why people continue to keep giving her a platform. But let's go ahead and break it down. First off, let's talk about Emma Gredes. I don't know anything about this woman. Today's the first time that I was actually reading about her. Apparently, she's a British businesswoman, CEO of Good American, founding partner of Skims, and apparently now Meghan's latest stepping stone for global visibility. Emma's built quite a name for herself, and I'm not knocking that. She's definitely got hustle. But let's not kid ourselves. Her decision to platform Meghan reeks of opportunism. That's just my opinion. This isn't about two entrepreneurs bonding over shared struggles. It's about Emma leveraging Meghan's polarizing fame to boost her podcast profile and her YouTube channel. And Meghan? She's happy to play along because it's another chance to polish her tarnished image. The mutual back scratching is so obvious. It's almost I wouldn't even say admirable, but it's a grift that was clearly calculated. And in this episode that was released today, it was billed as this so-called candid conversation about Meghan's lifestyle brand, as ever, whatever, and the challenges of building a business under public scrutiny. Now, this would sound promising if it was anybody else but Meghan, but taking her business as ever, lifestyle brand serious, it's laughable. And what we saw was what we see every time. It's Meghan doing what she does best, which is spinning a narrative that's equal parts self-aggrandizing and evasive. There's just so much to unpack with this video that it's going to take multiple videos, so bear with me, but I do want to go through this because she is desperately trying to change the way the public sees her and the way that she wants people to see her now, and the role that she's playing is some type of girl boss, billionaire, entrepreneur. No, Meghan, you can't just automatically assume that and play the role and get people to give you money for it. You actually have to have some type of talent and hard work ethic, and you have neither of that. I mean, it's no surprise that everything that Meghan was asked, she most likely had vetted beforehand, so everything felt very scripted and rehearsed. But what really got under my skin and made my blood boil, which I believe was the goal of Meghan to do, was that when Emma asked her what she'd do differently to rewrite her public narrative, Meghan says, "I would ask people to tell the truth." Oh, really, Meghan? Really, you want to go there? This is where I felt like I was about to have a stroke because, Meghan of all people demanding truth, the audacity was staggering to me. This is the same woman who, in her 2021 Oprah interview, claimed the palace was perpetuating falsehoods about her and spun a tale about a dispute with Kate over flower girl dresses, where she flipped the script on the actual truth. Those claims were divisive then, and they're still divisive now, with plenty of questions around their accuracy. Yet, here she is, perched on her moral high ground, implying everyone else is the liar? Are you effing kidding me? The hypocrisy of this woman is thick enough to choke on at this moment. If Meghan wants the truth, maybe she should start by looking in the mirror at herself, because there are plenty throughout this interview that she does where she is clearly lying. Let's take a look at a couple of those.
Yes. Well, my grandfather on my mom's side, he used to have an antique store. And I would always be oftentimes after school with him, helping with his antiques and watching what it's like to, just be in business and also customer service.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I grew up on the set of Married with Children every day after school for 10 years. I was there.
Wow.
I know. It's a very perverse place for a little girl who went to Catholic school, no less, to grow up, because I'm there in my school uniform, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then the guests. So, yeah.
They must have been interested in you walking around in your little schoolgirl outfit. Did they think you were working on the show, perhaps?
Thankfully, no. Come on, I have curly hair and gap in my teeth. And
Yeah, did you see the rest of the people on that show? That's fine.
Yeah, I guess it could have worked. I mean, they watched me grow
So
up.
is your hair...
I really want to understand where you got the entrepreneurial bug. Did you have, like business owners or founders in your family? Where does it come from?
Go to downtown LA, I would buy with my allowance just sort of the overstock. You can buy like 1 yard at a time. And I started using my own sewing machine. I would make scrunchies. So when I was about 5th, 6th grade, I was selling scrunchies for $1 a piece at school. And so I guess it starts young when you get to see...
I learned this about you. You made scrunchies and sold them at school.
I did, yes.
How innovative of you. What did you make them out of?
Well, I would ask my mom to take me down to downtown LA where all the fabric stores are. And you could buy the remnants of fabric really affordably. So I would get some of the remnants and I'd buy the elastic and tie the knot. And I had a little sewing machine and, just made scrunchies and sold them at school. This is when I was in elementary school. So I was what? 9.
That's amazing. And then did you go on to want to sell other things, or you were just, that's the one thing you thought, oh, I can sell these?
No, it was a thing at the time, and I guess they're back now. People are wearing scrunchies again.
Portia wears scrunchies. That's amazing. And then did you go on to want to sell other things, or you were just, that's the one thing you thought, oh, I can sell these?
No, it was a thing at the time, and I guess they're back now.
$1 at a time, but it was great. It really did spark something in me.
No, it was a thing at the time, and I guess they're back now.
You see, Meghan's the type of person who enjoys being the asshole. She knew that by saying that, she was going to get a rise out of everybody. And then she doubles down on the narrative, referencing advice from Serena Williams, stating a lie can't live forever. And she notes that 8 years is a long time, but not forever, clearly alluding to her time in the public since dating Prince Harry in 2016. What lie is she talking about? She doesn't specify because, of course, she doesn't. Vagueness is Meghan's brand, and she knows how to say things that are implied to get you to draw the conclusion that she wants. It's so manipulative. I mean, Meghan knows how to use language, and she knows how to hint at some grand injustice without actually providing any kind of details. It lets her fans go ahead to go off and do the dirty work. As what we see with the Sussex squad. They know that if Meghan is going to allude to it, they're going to drag the royal family in. And if you're going to call out lies, Meghan, name names or shut the fuck up and sit down. This coy, victimized act is getting so tired. Anyhow, let's talk about this stupid business, as ever, whatever, because that's supposedly the focus of this podcast. Meghan goes on to wax poetic about her jam preserves or spread or whatever she's calling it today, inspired by her garden and how her friends loved her homemade jam so much that it was enough to spark this whole lifestyle business. Yeah, okay, Meghan, whatever. She really wants us to believe that she is just a humble jam maker at heart. She insists she'd be happy selling at a farmer's market, which we all know is laughable. I mean, this is a woman who has been chasing global headlines for years, not someone content with a stall at a local market and living a private life, like they said they would. Again, that was another lie. I mean, throughout this interview, the disconnect between Meghan's words and her reality is so jarring to me. Either she is definitely playing a role, or she is seriously going mental.
We didn't plan for everything selling out in under an hour. And so watching those metrics happen in real time, I set my alarm for the exact moment we were going to go live, and watching it, getting texts from my friends saying, it's already sold out. And then seeing,
Right there, Meghan is making up her stories. You know that she's lying because not only is she touching her nose, but she refuses to make eye contact with Emma because clearly she's in this storytelling mode that she's making up or reciting based off of rehearsing it, because there's no doubt that this question was asked ahead of time to where she had time to plan what she was going to say. Meghan also denies deliberately limiting the as ever whatever stock to create this so-called quick sellout, calling it a beautiful surprise. Now, we know that this is a tactic that the Kardashians use, so I'm pretty sure Emma gave her that advice, or at least knows about this trick in order to make it look like there's a high demand. I mean, the whole thing is such a farce.
Or I should ask you, was it planned? I mean, did you plan to actually?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Plan to
No.
no.
It was a beautiful surprise. I had a feeling there would be a lot of interest. And we planned for that.
Now, how many times do you think Meghan rehearsed that? That sounded pretty rehearsed.
What a blessing that it creates and generates so much buzz and so much interest. But I'm still never willing to sacrifice or compromise on the quality.
What the hell is that? You know, I paid $14 for this, and it's just come bashed up.
Now, throughout this podcast, there were moments where Meghan's mask drops, and you can tell that she wasn't interested in the advice that Emma was giving, as well as there was one moment where it appears that Meghan got triggered by the word desperate.
That initial partnership that you do in business, you know,
Yes.
you can get it really right, you can get it really wrong. God knows I got it wrong enough times.
Enough times.
Oh my good. Yeah, because you know what? Certainly for me, there was such a sense of desperation to just get something done that the first person that was like, hey, we believe in you, I was like, great, me too, let's go. And there were parts of it that
You can see right here where the word is now hitting her brain, desperation, and she's thinking to herself, well, I wasn't desperate. I wasn't, in desperation for a partner.
were good and parts of it that, let's say I had to learn from a little bit. But when you look at this partnership,
And you can see right here, she's fixated on this word desperation. She's not paying attention to anything that this woman is saying. She's now thinking, how am I going to respond to this and clap back? Look at her clenched jaw. She is like infuriated. She is now going to clap back and separate herself from this woman because she does think that she's superior. What a bitch.
Well, I think what's different than what you're saying is your initial experience is that we've been in partnership with Netflix for 5 years already.
So you see what Meghan did there. She's saying, what's different about your situation, referencing her desperation in finding a partner, was that Meghan was so blessed that she already had these relationships with all these powerful people to make it happen for her because she is Meghan Markle. You see, the last thing that Meghan wants you to think is that she's desperate because she's fallen so far.
My husband and I, so there's familiarity and there's comfort. And while that was just on the content side, not on the commerce side, these are relationships and friendships now. So though I'm working more so with the other building.
Yeah, clearly Meghan is in this prove it phase because everybody knows what a bully she is and nobody can stay longer than a year working with her. So, the fact that she is emphasizing how she's developed these long-lasting relationships that they just want to work with her, nobody believes this, Meghan. Nobody believes this shit.
I love the details of things. And I think that's where a lot of the magic comes in. So in partnership, while we are every day in the weeds of minutia from packaging and unboxing to the language on a newsletter, which yes, I'm one of the people who's looking at all of that and making sure that it feels reflective of my vision for the brand.
Lies. Oh, so much care and consideration has been taken with this that the thing is ripped. Is this because she knew that it was coming to me? Wow, enjoy. She said that she was obsessing over the packaging. I'm not sure.
Absolutely consumed with packaging. That's all I could think about.
And I would sit there doing the unboxing in my head. Is there tissue paper? What about the packing peanuts? But they're biodegradable. And where does the sticker go? And hold on, and what size the box is going to be? And no, that's not going to fit all the SKUs. Oh my gosh. And then someone says, but you don't want to brand the outside of the box because of porch pirates. Had never heard that before.
So we're off to a great start. Meghan's packaging is crappy, to say the least. Look at that.
Is there any part of you that feels any sense of imposter syndrome? Do you ever sit back and get overwhelmed by how big the opportunity is and then, pedal back from anything that might be?
I don't. I think I have.
Cards.
I think that I've always had a very entrepreneurial spirit, as we talked about.
And then did you go on to want to sell other things, or you would just, that's the one thing you thought, oh, I can sell these?
No, it was a thing at the time, and I guess they're back now.
And I've also, in the adventures of my life, I have certainly navigated through things that can in some ways feel bigger.
So Meghan knows that she has pulled off the con of the century, or at least she thinks she knows she's pulled it off. Not quite yet, Meghan, because we're still going to remind everybody what you have been doing these past 4 years. Anyhow, it was right at this moment when Meghan decides to show everybody how smart she is and educates Emma on the definition of imposter syndrome, of which she makes herself look like a total asshole. But before we get into that, let's define what imposter syndrome means.
Let's have a little look at the definition of imposter syndrome as it is. It is this persistent feeling of inadequacy, of not being good enough. And it often also comes with a feeling that your own success is not due to yourself. And when you fail, it is due to yourself. It feels like you are wrong for not knowing enough.
I speak to so many founders, and more often than not, they feel some sense of imposter syndrome. And I have so many women that will say to me, didn't you feel or don't you feel imposter syndrome? And my answer is always no. I'm like, if not you, then who? Why would you feel that way? Nothing is the same because you're never doing it in the same time, in the same culture, with the same people.
Yes, and even if you're making it up as you go along, as you say, which I think, true, most people are doing that. Imposter syndrome is when you're posturing as though you know everything. Mm-hmm. You don't need to posture as though you know everything. Imposter syndrome is when you're posturing as though you know everything. Mm-hmm. You don't need to posture as though you know everything.
No, you are so dumb. You are really dumb, for real.
A person who makes deceitful pretenses. Fake, faker, fraud, imposter, pretender.
All the grandeur surrounding this stuff is an attachment that I don't personally have, right? I've been a waitress, an actress, princess, a duchess. I've always just still been Meghan, right? So for me, I'm clear on who I am independent of that stuff. And the most important title I will ever have is mom.
Amazing. And also, to your point, because I'm business minded, I'm immediately going, okay, well, this is going to be a big pivot. Mm-hmm. Now what? Because I knew that I had a decision to make, which came down to what is our timeline to be able to restock these products that we had?
Yo, Meghan is just so phony. Nobody is buying that she understands the terminology that she's using. You know that this is rehearsed in what she's saying to make herself sound like she understands business and that she is so savvy as an entrepreneur and a founder. Get the fuck out of here, Meghan, with this. You are making a fool out of yourself again.
Well, we can restock what we had at those same quantities, but then I'll have another sellout. Mm-hmm. And I don't want that for people. I think scarcity is great if it happens organically at the onset. But at a certain point, even being consumer minded, I would be fatigued if that kept happening and I was going to a website. So I said, okay, let's take this opportunity to grow, to have exponentially more SKUs as well as more inventory.
And right there, folks, if any of you listening are an investor of this stupid as ever, whatever scam that Meghan is peddling right now, go ahead and get your money back, because right in this moment, Meghan shows how stupid she is in the world of business. No CEO or entrepreneur is going to say, great, we sold out so quickly, let's add more product line to that. How many more SKUs and different types of products we can add to the list now? Instead of saying, hold on, let's take a step back and see if this really did go well.
Ugh, that does not. Try and show you this. That does not look. It's the consistency looks very concerning. It doesn't have any preservatives in it. That's probably why it's this horrific consistency. If you can see that, the jar is kind of like half filled. You can see she's very cleverly put manufactured for as Ever Enterprises. So we don't actually know where this jar has been made.
Did people get the product that we insured or quality that we insured on our website? Like, doing quality assurance is a huge part of making this brand successful. And here Meghan is like, no, we're going to just add more product SKUs to it and make it bigger and see how we can scale.
No, you are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Like, I'm dumbfounded as to why people are taking this business seriously. I somehow feel like this is some sort of social experiment that Meghan has been running with Netflix. And at some point, hopefully this torture is going to come to an end, because right now it is borderline abusive. No, actually, it has crossed over into being abusive. We should not have to be subjected to this woman constantly in our faces every single day, because that's essentially what it is. People are so fatigued and turned off. They don't care what Meghan has to say. They don't care about what Meghan is dabbling in, because none of it appears to be real. What people who are backing Meghan don't seem to understand is that the more you shove this woman in our faces, the more that we are going to get pissed off. If that's the end goal, then you succeeded. So, is Netflix going to all of a sudden release some type of show showing this social experiment? Like, I hope so. I hope all of this has been part of some type of observation that has been going on over the last 7 years regarding this psyops, because right now you can't take this seriously. And if indeed this is being taken seriously by the people at Netflix, then what is that telling you about society and having to accept mediocrity, or being forced to accept that this is excellence that we're looking at? What we're looking at here right now is complete failure. This is Marxist failure sitting in front of us, being told that we have to accept whatever she puts in front of us as her so-called truth. Meghan is a liar, and she is probably the biggest scam artist of our time, hands down. Between all the fake photos and using AI to manipulate the masses into believing that what she's putting out there is to believe, as well as all these changing narratives and lies that she's telling, this can't be real. At what point are people going to stand up like the media and push back calling this out? See, the thing is part of the problem here is that the media is involved with this. Anyhow, I will be back tomorrow with part 2 to this, because there's a lot more that I have to say in some of the things that Meghan had mentioned throughout this interview that today my head just blew up over all of this manipulation. I mean, the amount of layers of deceit within this interview is mind-blowing. But what are your initial thoughts? Definitely leave your thoughts below. As always, I will be back with more content. But until then, please be safe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Such a fraud.